you said this a couple of weeks ago, a couple episodes ago, where you were talking about people calling episodes filler, and you have a bone to pick with
Yes.
that. A lot of people call this episode filler, and I have a bone to pick with that. I disagree. I
Mm-hmm.
love this one, which ironically,
I see where they're
actually,
coming from, but yeah.
I can understand it. Like I get it, and ironically, I also, whenever we were talking about it beforehand, before we did this rewatch, I like kind of forgot about most of this episode. I can't lie, and
I
so
did,
I
yeah.
was like, oh, I didn't remember. But sitting down rewatching it, it's so good. It's such a good episode. I feel
And
like
to
it.
say like this is kind of people do say they rate this episode very low, and this is one of the most low rated I think episodes of the entire series. But
Mhm.
that's saying a lot because it's still a
Yeah,
good episode.
I mean, like the bar is just
The
like
bar,
in
this
the
is the lowest
stratosphere.
it
So
gets.
of
Like,
course, yeah,
damn,
like the lowest is still much better than like
much
any
better
other
than any
episode of
show.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's
So
seriously saying something.
no, it's great. I think it's really, really good. We'll get into my reasons why later on and as we get through it.
Mhm.
But to start, we have Sokka setting up a tent, and then that quickly gets into a sibling fight, a little bicker between him and Katara, because he's setting up
Yeah.
the tent, and she's like, "Hey, bro, what about the tarp?" And he's like, "Hey, I don't know if you noticed, but it's dry season. We don't need it, and plus, it's
Yeah.
a good blanket." And she's like, "Yeah, but what if it rains?" And he's like, "But what if it doesn't?" And then I set it up for nothing, and so they just get super mad about it, and then he has
They
to,
just bicker.
yeah, he has to pick a fight, and it's like, oh well, your kindling that you grabbed sucked, and so they just start
Yeah.
arguing about it, and like it's just a really funny thing that they, and also I love his point of like, oh, but then I would have set it up for nothing. I'm like, dude, you could have just like set it
I
up and
mean, just
be
set it
good,
up. Yeah. But then he
because
like
like
wants a blanket and
yeah, which but
it's so
also if it's
funny.
dry season and they seem to be in the desert, like why you need an extra blanket, man? Like what? How cold do you
Yeah.
get when you
Well,
sleep?
the desert does get cold at night.
That is true. That's a good point. But like it's a great bicker moment. But then it
It is a
really
good like
like
sibling moment too. Like
it's a
that's
great yeah.
again, I say it a lot. That's exactly how siblings fight. That's I've had vacations. I've had this exact fight with my brother. I'm like, you're
Yeah.
insufferable. Just do this. Why are you doing this? And yeah.
And also, especially when it comes to like camping and setting up a campground, like I
Oh
used to go camping
yeah.
all the time whenever I was younger, and like
Oh.
it's annoying. Like I loved it, but also like there's a point in the setup process where like I hate all of this and I want it to just be done. Like I'm not doing another thing. This is awful. Like it's fine how it is. It's okay. And so
Yeah, you're
like
like,
it
whatever. It's good for tonight.
yeah. But the thing I think that this opening does well and that happens is because Aang ends up coming in and he's like, he solves the problem. He's like, just
Mhm,
switch jobs and it'll be fine. And they're like, fine, I guess. Like, that's okay. But it
mhm.
really like shows the like this small fight is an encapsulation of
Is
the
the
larger
this
yeah it's the
episode.
larger
Yeah.
it's this entire episode is the like
Mhm,
the two sides fighting and very being very steadfast in their
mhm,
belief that they're right and they're doing the thing and like they won't listen to the other person, right? And
mhm,
then it's Aang's job to solve it, and they literally even have a line about how settling feuds and making peace like is the Avatar's
mhm.
like job. And it's like I literally took in my notes. I was like, "Oh, super subtle intro here," and like
Super
opening. Like
subtle, yeah.
they're really just like laying it on, but it works. It's a very genuine thing, and so it's cool to see. So we get that, which is great. He solves the problem, and
Mhm,
then there's a little fight between Appa and Momo, also that Aang quickly
mhm.
solves, and he makes the comment which we talked about that Appa has 5 stomachs.
Yeah. Like, he needs a
Insane.
bigger piece, but, like, 5?
That's crazy. I love that.
Can
That's just a
animals
casual.
have
I know
I
cows
know
have a lot
fro
of stomachs,
yeah.
right? I think I remember that from like elementary school. I haven't. I don't really look at
I'm
animal
looking up
like.
how many stomachs do cows have. 4.
Oh, that's close. Bison, I'm pretty sure just have the
Oh, they
one.
technically only have 1, but it's split into 4
It's five. Oh
separate
yeah, the
compartments.
sections. Yeah. Hmm.
I don't like
That's
that.
interesting.
I just I don't like
not
that.
not a fan.
Not a
Um,
fan of that. I don't
but
like
yeah,
to think about that too much, but
they just casually drop in the fact that he has 5 stomachs, which is wild.
yeah.
And so then we get to see like where they are, and they're at the Great Divide, which is very not subtly the Grand Canyon. It's just
They're
the
like, "Look at its beauty and how grand
they're
it
like
is."
they're like this is the biggest canyon in the world, and it's like ah cool. Which I mean, but you can't fault them for like it's an awesome landmark and like
It
natural
is.
thing. Like it looks sick. It's so cool. Um, so they
And
have
it's a
that,
great
and
little
apparent
thing to have in, yeah. It's
yeah,
very
it's like oh
creative.
that's it makes sense as like a I don't want to just say landmark again, but like a natural like
Like a natural
thing.
formation and like
Yeah,
showing the variety of land that's in this world. And
or like as a wonder of the world, like it's one of the
yeah,
wonders of the Avatar world, right? Is
like
like
it's more than
the Great
just
Divide.
forests, water, earth, fire. Like
There's a
there,
huge like
this
thing that
world
like
is expansive. Like I know a lot of
yeah.
things in some fantasy. There's like this is the desert planet and it's just desert. This is the
hmm
snow planet. It's just snow.
Hey, don't subtly come at Dune like
Sorry.
that.
But it's
um,
like,
no,
but
yeah,
you're like, how is
it's
there
like a
not
one
more?
region
That's
thing. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a very stereotypical thing for and a lot of like sci-fi and fantasy and stuff like that. To like, yeah,
Yeah.
you have the like one biome. There's the word I
Yeah,
was
this
looking
is
for.
the biome, that's it. But I like that
Yeah,
it mimics this one mimics Earth a lot where it's they do
more
have
varied.
more
Yeah,
varied. Hmm.
which is cool, and it's also one of those things where like you feel like everyone in the Avatar world, like you can mention the Great Divide and like people know what you're talking about because it's this
Yeah.
huge thing. It's the Grand
Hmm.
Canyon.
The Grand
um,
Canyon.
so they get there and they see they need to get across, right? And they show up and there's this refugee, right, who is
Hmm.
going and he comes up and he's trying to get this guide to help him across. And he mentions there's this other group of people that comes up and they're like, "Oh, is that your tribe?" And he's like, "Oh no, these are the terrible,
I don't
disgusting people."
associate with them.
Yeah, like I don't
No.
like how dare you think that I'm a part of their group, right? And then
Mhm.
we're introduced to the Ganjins and the Zhangs. I believe I'm pronouncing both those correctly.
Yes.
And so they are these two like competing tribes, and they're very like stereotypical in their representation. Like it's a very like clean cut. Like one is the like super clean and like pompous and like prissy type tribe, and then the other one is this like rough and grungy and like
Hmm.
very like rugged tribe, and they're both the like polar extremes in that respect.
Which their names actually do translate exactly to that. Like Zhang is this is like a fun fact, Zhang is the Americanized pronunciation. I can't speak. The Americanized pronunciation of the Chinese word for dirty. And
Mhm.
then Ganjin literally means the cleans.
Yeah. So it's very like
Hmm.
again, not the most subtle thing, but it works. Like
Yeah, but it works.
it gets the point across. And I
It
also
was good
though
enough.
I do have to comment, I love the robes for the Ganjins. Like it
Yes.
is one of
I
my
didn't think
favorite
about that.
designs in the entire show, honestly. Like I saw that it's because it
Really?
really reminds me of like the more ceremonial like Jedi robes and stuff you'll see. And like it just
Ah.
looks like it's such a
Ah.
clean color comp which clean. It's such a nice
Oh.
like color combo and just looks it's so cool. It's a very nice design. I like it a lot. And then
I really didn't think about the robes so much, but you're right. They are like very pretty. They have these like trim designs that are very
it's
nice.
just the like
Yeah.
white and gold and like it just I'm like oh
Hmm.
looks great. And then it even more the like their whenever they tell the story later on, Wei Jinwei, I can't remember which is which. Um
Hmm.
but like he has a like shoulder cape too that's like makes it even cooler. Like oh, man,
Ah.
that's a sick design. So yeah, we're introduced to these two tribes that
Hmm.
absolutely hate each other, can't
Yeah.
stand each other, and are both trying to get passage across the Great Divide. And
To make it to
there's an
Bossing Say, which is
yes,
important. Hmm.
that's where they're trying to get. And
Which,
there's an earthbender. Oh,
looking
Bossing says,
back at the map,
is that the
oh, I
direction they
guess,
even need to go?
I guess, are they on the other side? So would they be going backwards? I'm guessing.
I mean,
So if we pull up the map again, we see that there's the Great Divide. There's so there.
mhm,
I'm guessing we'll be like on top of it and going down because then there's the Serpent's Pass to
Bossing
Bossing
say,
Say,
yeah,
unless they're not going the Serpent's Pass, so
and they're going around.
they want to go around. Hmm.
hmm
Okay,
Interesting,
so it works. It can be
interesting stuff.
interesting stuff to think about, but it can be justified. Anyways.
Yeah.
Hey, Aspect listener. Enjoying the show?
Then be sure to subscribe here on The Aspect so you never miss an episode.
And check out more episodes and clips on our playlist here.
Thanks so much for watching, and
Lameo Hotman.